Guest video. Ingres's
Madame Moitessier.
This video is given by Christopher Riopel, the curator of post-1800 paintings at the National Gallery in London. Search for Ingres's
Madame Moitessier.
Talks for All, National Gallery. Riopel provides an excellent talk on Jean-Auguste Dominique Ingres's painting
Portrait of Madame Moitessier.
Whilst not wishing to spoil the talk, this painting took Ingres 12 years to complete, and this is Ingres at 24. About Ingres. Jean-Auguste Dominique Ingres, the 29th of August, 1780 to the 14th of January, 1867, was a French artist. His teacher was Jacques-Louis David, himself a very talented artist, and Christopher Riopel devotes some time in his talk to David, and this is a self-portrait by David. Whilst Jacques-Louis David considered Ingres his best pupil, he also considered him one of the most difficult. He was to say, "The man is mad, I have no idea what he's up to." And this is Ingres' academic study of a male torso. From an early age Ingres was determined to be a history painter, which, in the hierarchy of genres established by the Royal Academy of Painting and Sculpture under Louis XIV, was considered the highest level of painting, and this is his portrait of Napoleon Bonaparte as first consul, in original.
Portrait de Napoléon Bonaparte en premier consul.
But the painting had to be more than just a likeness, it had to represent the person themselves, show them in ways that explained their actions and their character. This is Ingres' Napoleon on his imperial throne. The painting,
Madame Moitessier,
is a portrait of
Marie-Clotilde Inès Moitessier, née de Foucault.
Begun in 1844 when Ingres was 64 and completed in 1856 when Ingres was 76. And this is a self-portrait done in 1859 when he was 79. Ingres used an ancient Roman fresco as the basis of his composition. The fresco shows Omphale, queen of the kingdom of Lydia in Asia Minor. With her is the great hero Heracles, whom the Romans identified as Hercules. Hercules was by the command of the Delphic oracle Xenoclea, remanded as a slave to Omphale for the period of a year. And this is Ingres' Raphael and the Fornarina, in original.
Raphaël et la Fornarina.
In effect, the Greeks did not recognize Omphale as a goddess, but as the mistress of the hero Heracles during a year of required servitude. And this is Ingres' The Great Odalisque, in original.
La Grande Odalisque.
But other than a few symbolic objects, the fan, for example, and the mirror reflecting the back of her head and the bracelets and rings, not much progress was made in the first years. In 1813, aged 33, Ingres had married a young woman, Madeleine Chapel. After a courtship carried out through correspondence, he proposed without having met her, and she accepted. Their marriage was happy and Madame Ingres's faith was unwavering. And this is Ingres' Madame Ingres, born Madeleine Chapel, in original.
Madame Ingres, née Madeleine Chapelle.
Near 1814. And this is a self-portrait done in 1822 when he was 42, held by the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C., USA. But during the painting of
Madame Moitessier,
Ingres was devastated by the loss of his wife, who died on the 27th of July, 1849, halfway through the commission. Again, work on the portrait ceased as his sponsor maintained a respectful silence. Ingres was by this time nearly 69, and this is Ingres' portrait of the Baroness Rothschild, in original.
Portrait of the Baron Rothschild.
Done in 1848, 1 year before his wife's death. But after an ultimatum by Monsieur Moitessier demanding Ingres finishes the commission, Ingres does, but with a different portrait, of equal quality but totally different, now in the National Gallery of Art, Washington, D.C., USA.
Portrait of Madame Inès Moitessier.
In 1842,
Madame Moitessier,
had married a widower twice her age, the rich banker and lace merchant Sigisbert Moitessier, thus becoming
Madame Moitessier.
and on delivery of the Washington portrait Ingres was paid handsomely. But Ingres had been captivated by her beauty. Indeed, art critic Théophile Gautier, shown here, who watched during some of the painting sessions, agreed with Ingres that her beauty was the most regal, magnificent, stately and Juno-esque that he had ever seen drawn. And as Ingres had already been paid, it left him free to finish the first portrait for pleasure. In 1855, 11 years after starting the painting, Ingres changes Madame Moitessier's dress so that she wears one made of fashionable and expensive Lyon silk printed with a floral pattern. The attention to detail here is extraordinary, every fold, every flower faithfully reproduced. And he transfigures her, giving her skin a luminous glow, indicating advanced spirituality, a goddess-like attribute. And she is given bracelets, emeralds, and other precious stones. The final portrait, begun in 1844 when Ingres was 64, was completed in 1856 when he was 76. And for Ingres it may have been spiritually the union, hieros gamos, or mystic marriage, many other great painters sought. Union with a goddess of great beauty. And all this despite the fact that in 1852, Ingres, then 71 years of age, married 43-year-old Delphine Ramel. Ingres was said to have been rejuvenated, and in the decade that followed he completed several significant works, not just
Madame Moitessier.
This is Ingres' portrait of Madame Ingres painted in 1859. But this is only speculation, unlike Michelangelo and Tchaikovsky, where the link is more clear-cut. We can only guess what his motives were, and all we do know is that this portrait was eventually not done for money, and this painting is Ingres the Valpincan bather, in original
La baigneuse Valpinson.
And here we see a self-portrait completed in 1864 for the Academy of Antwerp. He is wearing a smart suit, holding a top hat and gloves, and he's ready to go out. But not without the medals and honors that he displays so proudly. The star of a Grand Officer in the French Legion of Honor, the Cross of the Prussian Order of Merit, and a decoration awarded to him by the Grand Duke of Tuscany. Ingres died of pneumonia on the 14th of January, 1867, at the age of 86, in his apartment on the Quai Voltaire in Paris.